Greetings. Let's talk. So, if you have been following my channel for any time, I'm sure there's been some wild suspicions that I might have fallen off the edge of the earth. And I do honestly owe you all a bit of an apology for vanishing this long. And it's not that anything's wrong. It's not that I had to stop making videos per se. It's that a lot of things all kind of came to a head and had to happen at once. And, if I got to prioritize the videos, I can always get back to them, but there were honest deadlines on other stuff I had to do. And I wanted to just take a minute. I want to share with you some of the stuff that's been going on. Now, the first of which, for some of my keener viewers, you'll notice there's something missing from this side of the studio. And that was, of course, the Bardic Champions banner, which I carried on behalf of the Barony of Bonwick, has their champion bard. Well, there's another change you'll notice in the studio, and these two are related. So recently, a couple weeks ago now, I had frankly, the privilege of helping to herald in the new Baroness of the Barony of Bonwick. A good and dear friend of mine, Her Excellency Beatrix Fontaine, and part of the happenings of that day was the Bardic competition. We got to select a new bard, and I was part of that process. And it's not the first time I've ever judged a Bardic competition, but it's one of the few. I've only been champion a handful of times in my quarter-plus century of playing, but I always take this job very seriously when I'm part of selecting a new champion. And it was a honest pleasure to help be part of that process. And part of the stepping down that I was given, the stepping down prize, is this baldric right here, the red and yellow. And this is a gift from the barony that all champions get to keep after they step down. So they always have part of Bonwick with them. And I was truly touched beyond words to be able to continue to fly the colors of the barony. Bonwick has been, they've really kind of adopted me as, a long lost and very distant child, really. They're a terrific group. And while the Barony of Wiesenfeuer is my home and my dearest friends live here, it is always a wonderful feeling to have that welcome and that enthusiasm from another group. So God bless Bonwick for taking me in. Another thing I got to do, you also notice right here on the soundstage. Another thing I got to do, you also notice right here in the studio. That is folded up, of course, but this is my Herald's Tabard. Now, to be clear, just for the historically authentic ones out there, for those of you who are going to kind of grind your teeth at this, a proper Herald's Tabard should have only the arms of your client. So there's not a Herald's Tabard. You should be wearing either the arms of your group or the individual you're heralding for. But part of the SCA balance we have is if you are ever heralding for someone who doesn't have a baldric or a tabard that you can wear, it's understood that a green tabard, unadorned, is a good neutral representation saying, I am heralding, and listen to my voice, you'll figure out who I'm heralding for. So this is the tabard I got to wear heralding in. I was the personal herald for Her Excellency Beatrix, and I got to wear it, I believe it's called antwise or crosswise, with across shoulders. It's the second time I got a chance to do that, and it was an insane amount of fun. So that was Bonwick, and that was an amazing experience. And we're not done yet, because the next weekend, might have been 2 weekends later. It's been a whirlwind month, let me tell you. I attended, let's see, first there was Crown Tournament, which I didn't do any heralding at, but I was present for an Onsteo Crown tournament. Is always a big to do. But also, a few weeks later, this past weekend, as a matter of fact, I attended the Windham Coronet Tournament. Now, this was a big deal for me because I have been asked to herald an individual into the tournament. I was the personal herald for Alexander Margulis, and that's the first time I've done personal heraldry for that particular tournament. I've heralded in my barony before when we were doing the Barony Ober sessions for the first tournament. And I've done site announcements and so forth. But to herald in an individual was, it's a different experience. It's one I was really glad to be able to do. Again, I pulled out this tabard because Alexander doesn't have a personal tabard, which a lot of the fighters didn't. That's okay. And for me, one of the things Alexander asked, which is the absolute appropriate thing to ask, was he said, hey, if I win, are you willing to be the principality, or rather the sanguine herald, the personal herald for the Prince and Princess of Windham? And I told him, I can't commit to that outright. I promise you I'll get you, if you win, I'll get you through court the day of, and I can get you through maybe one or two events, and then we'll talk. If you win, maybe I'll be able to do it. Maybe I'm going to have to hand it up to someone else. I'm not going to make any commitments. He was totally cool with that. Which, to quote Mary Poppins, that's kind of a pie crust promise, easily made, easily broken, because it is, what are the odds of your guy winning? Unless you're stepping up for one of the hot sticks in the area, what are the odds that a unbelted fighter is going to win? Well, let me tell you, Alexander made it to the finals. It was him and the now Prince, Dafydd. The current sanguine Prince and Princess royals for Windham are Dafydd and Octavia. So I spent about 3 minutes there because it was best 2 out of 3, 3 different weapon styles. It was a cool fight, but I spent about 3 minutes there going, he is about to land me a job, which I've wanted for a while. I was like, oh, and I was rooting for him. I honestly was, but it wasn't his day. Dafydd was the better fighter on that one, and he's now the territorial royalty. And I'm not going to lie, for no other reason than personal obligation, I went, because logistically, I'm not ready to be a principality herald right now. A royal herald right now. I don't have the time. And then, no, wait, we're not done. For those of you who follow my videos, you'll know that I made a folding wagon. And the next day, so the tournament was on Saturday, the following Sunday, I was part of a small contingent of SCAers who were invited to march in a pride parade here in Oklahoma City. And I jumped at the opportunity. I am unreserved about my support of the Pride movement and support for the 2S LGBTQIA. If you'll forgive me, one of the more common parlances in some circles now is Le Bijoquois, which is trying to actually say all those letters put together. So if I say that, that's where that comes from. But I am a unabashed and unreserved supporter of the Le Bijoquois community. So a chance to march in the parade was an opportunity I jumped at. And in true Ivo format, what I did was I took my wagon with me, and the groups that had invited us to march with them, we wound up throwing 2 flats of bottled water, and a bunch of people threw some props, and we threw some bags in there. So I actually had a pretty substantial payload. This wagon was probably hauling I'd say about 75, 80 pounds of gear in it. And I was able to roll this thing for the 1.5 miles, no problem whatsoever. That cart took the trip like a champ, carried everything, and people were able to, in the middle of the parade, run over and switch out stuff of what they were doing or grab a water bottle and drink. And it was a terrific logistical help. So the fact that I scratch built that, and the fact that I was able to make something that was that functional and that useful, and it survived, and that's for that cart, that's kind of a torture test. A mile and a half on pavement, that's kind of a torture test for those wheels, and that much use with that much weight on it. That was not really what I designed it for, but I took it anyway, and it came out great. So that was a high point for me as a maker, because I really enjoyed being able to show that off and kind of prove my design. And it was also a high point for me because I get a chance to boost the spirits and show support for the LeBidgeois community. And all that's just the SCA stuff. My personal life, I've pulled out an old writing project. I'm working on some fan fiction. I'm still video gaming. I am currently helping my wife work on we're actually building a new cabinet in our bedroom. So we have just a lot of stuff going on. And it's not that I didn't want to do videos, it's finding time. So that is where I am. I wanted to be transparent with you guys. A lot of you have stuck with me. Some of you have been there from video 1 or video 2, 2+ years ago. And I wanted you guys to know what I've been up to. I wanted you to know why I've been pulled away. I'm not just sitting here with my feet up, drinking soda, watching movies. I am here busier than I'll get out, a million things going on, and I am, oh my God, glad to be back in the studio. So there's more to come. I've got a whole bunch of videos coming, and I look forward to producing more content for you. And as always, if there's something you want to know or something you want to talk about, drop a comment down below. I have a Discord channel. Go ahead and join that. Feel free to drop a comment there, a suggestion of a topic. I'd love to hear what's on your mind. And I will see you there. But until then, goodbye, God bless, and I'll see you at the next event.